What's going on, guys? I'm IcyRhythms. Welcome back. And in this video, we're going to talk about Microsoft's Project xCloud. And in my personal opinion, this is coming from a place of just trying to be about the consumer, in particular myself, about the gamer. I really don't feel, whether you're talking about Microsoft's Project xCloud or the thing that Google is doing, this really doesn't benefit anyone but the companies. This doesn't really benefit us. I know some people will scream convenience. That was one of my arguments always with digital downloads, and that's the standard, that's the norm on PC. But I want you to think about that. I want you to think about how you enjoy digital downloads, and some of you may have even made the switch to all digital downloads, and I think that that's great. In many ways, it does have its advantages, and of course, we still have people that enjoy physical copies of games. The disc, the case, the rare occasion you might get a somewhat decent manual these days. People still really enjoy that experience. Some people like to smell their new game, that new game, the opening smell. People still do that. I know it's crazy to some of you, but some people do still enjoy that, and I think it's important to remember those little things. Or thinking about how on the PC platform in particular, sometimes we don't have to wait for the developer to patch games. Sometimes the community will figure it out for themselves, or maybe the company has moved on from the game and there's some things that never got patched. With many games, PC gamers will fix those issues, and that is a big deal. But I want you to think about a world where stuff like Project xCloud and the stuff that Google is doing is the norm. That stuff becomes the standard. My own personal thoughts on that, and in terms of like a timetable, is I still think this is a good 15 to 20 years away, where they're trying to completely wipe away physical media. But even then, I think you'll still have digital downloads and physical media to some extent. But think about not being able to smell that new game, to have that new game smell, to get community fixes, because we'll all be playing maybe some slightly different hardware, but we'll all be playing the same game at the same frame rate, with the exact same visuals, all the visual fidelity in general, whether you're talking about lighting, textures, whatever it is. We'll all be playing the same game. And to some of you, that probably sounds really, really good. Like, oh, we won't have to worry about someone being, having a better version than us. But there's other issues, right? At that point, the biggest issue is Microsoft, Google, and anyone else that jumps into this scene is controlling your entire experience. They are controlling the entire experience, including stuff that I just mentioned, because you won't be able to smell your games anymore. You won't be able to download community fixes, or maybe sometimes you'll get the occasional community fix on console, like someone knows a way to fix this issue on console, and it doesn't work quite the same on PC, obviously, but some of those fixes also work. But think about a world where we can no longer do that. We have to rely on them at that point. We have to trust that they may, or probably not in some cases, will patch these games and fix a lot of the issues, and they just control the entire experience at that point, and I do not like that. Another big issue I have is, we can talk about input lag, whether it's, something with the controller or the overall, visual presentation that you're seeing on screen. We know, at least for a while, we know that getting a really great image to the point where you can't really see a difference between playing it, digital download or off of a disc, we know that they're not going to be there for quite some time. So there's going to be a downgrade in some ways. Like, even if every game we play is at 60 FPS or something, you know what I mean? And that's another thing too, is we know that that's probably never going to be the standard, especially with some of the more demanding games. So it's like, even those that have really good PC hardware, if really good PC hardware is a thing, during that period of time, whenever that may be. Even those that have really good hardware can't push their frame rate any higher because this company or these companies they're now controlling the entire experience for you. And that just doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound good at all. That sounds like, well, it sounds like garbage. It doesn't sound appealing to me. I think we need to fight against this. If you don't want this to become a reality, do not support this. I know that there's a lot of Xbox guys right now that, totally dogged and just attacked, things like PlayStation Now, and, Sony bought Gaikai, if I'm not mistaken. Someone can't correct me on that. Totally attacking these ideas, and, the Google thing, and others have tried it before. I believe we had something with, what was it, OnLive? I think OnLive was some sort of streaming service. Maybe it was digital downloads, but I think OnLive was streaming. That was a disaster. We've seen this before, and while internet is, the infrastructure for it is better now, we're still not there, especially here in the States. It's not a good look. I don't think that this can happen, again, like I said, for another 15 to 20 years on a large scale. And what I mean by that is the majority of gamers, not just in the States, but the entire world, being able to take advantage of something like this. And again, forget about what kind of connection you're going to need to have, whether it's a really good one or somewhere in between, average and great, whatever it is. Just think about them controlling the experience. That's the problem. Like, that's the issue. You just won't be able to do a lot of the things that a lot of us probably take for granted at this point. Those are nice things. Those are, video games themselves are not a necessity, but those community fixes and just being able to tinker with, whether it's something with mods or any files or things in other folders, whatever it is, those are a huge plus. And we won't be able to do that anymore. I need you guys to think about that. This is the time. I think the time is now. For some of you, again, I'm sure that this sounds great. You're not thinking about the negatives, and you would love a world where the experience is no different than what you see on a disc or a digital download. But just think about them controlling the entire experience and you not being able to do shit about shit when it hits the fan. Think about that. Thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it very much. You guys take care. Thanks again. Peace.